All right, so true to my word, I am creating space. So, why do you create space? And you have to figure out what your gift is. Your gift could be, you got to know your gift, whatever your gift might be. Your gift might be a beautiful mind. And I know there's a movie, not that you're crazy, but what I'm saying is you might be intelligent. So, you can take that and apply it to books or whatever and amass wealth. So other people, they can take their athletic ability and apply their athletic ability and amass wealth. So some people can apply their musical creativity and genius and amass wealth. But you find that, what you're gifted and talented in, what it'll do is it'll create space, a separation, a delineation between you and the playing field that, hold on, this person is gifted. That's what it means. It's not fair. This person is gifted on this field. And then once you have that space that's curated from you going into that field or that whatever that area that you're supposed to do, you have to be obedient because you can be multi-gifted. And then when you're multi-gifted, why do you have to be obedient? It all comes down to God because you're multi-gifted. So you have 10 talents and you still have to give an account. And I heard Bishop T.D. Jakes preach this, and he said they all gave 100-fold. The one gave, or the one should have gave one, but the 5 gave 5, and the 10 gave. I was like, wow, okay. So that's why it's all according to your to your gifting. But what I'm saying is you're multi-gifted, so you can say, okay, I want to go all these different areas. But then there's sequence. That's why I said you have to be cued into God because people can get you if they can't stop you, then they'll try to do it another way. Well, okay, let's get them out of sequence. So you're gonna now you're doing this. Now you're putting this before God, and that or you're doing this before that. You're putting favor before purpose. There's a whole bunch of things you could do, and now you're going out of sequence, and you have to and put it back in sequence and then walk out in excellence. Excellence, when I was talking about virtues, when you're walking in excellence, excellence is a virtue. And there is virtue, uh, and this is what Prophet Hale spoke about, and it was phenomenal. Uh, he was talking about virtue and how basically the Lord felt virtue leave his body, and how it talks about you're supposed to add to your faith virtue. And that's why a lot of people aren't being healed. They're not adding to their faith virtue. And virtue, there's some things that, like virtue, I was going to study because you're trying to look at all the different definitions. And so there's a lot to that virtue thing because you're like, okay, now being a spiritual person, you might have tapped in and had virtue. So you felt when virtue left your body. You're like, okay, that's virtue. That's a divine portion. But then, just as the word is, not talking about the strength. Like I felt virtue leave my body, I felt strength leave my body. Not talking about that. Then there's to be virtuous. You know what I'm saying? There's slight intricacies of definition. So you might not all know, like when you're talking about virtue, you could be, unless you really concrete and nail it down, you can be all over the place. But virtue, that's what I was saying, virtue can be strength. Virtue can be, so that's what I'm saying. Let me just give it to you. Virtue can be strength. Virtue can be excellence. That's why they talk about excellence of moral character. So it's strength, moral character. I'd even say if you're talking about excellence of moral character, then the Beatitudes, it's also your attitude. And you can find this in the book that I wrote about called the Wisdom of Soulmates. I put so much into there. There's so much in there, so much in there. Because that's what I'm saying. Like as I give you these things on a daily, those things are things that I've got on a yearly. You know what I'm saying? And then hours upon hours upon hours upon hours, and then and then to be honest with you, I actually ran through so many different challenges where it was like, okay, let me prove your patience. This USB is going to disappear. This USB is going to disappear. You're going to finish the book, think you're finished, celebrate. Somebody, is it funny? Can you laugh about it now? I don't know. Somebody pours water on, yeah, all your memories gone. You go in, you can't get your memory. It's like, okay, now I've read this book 6, 7, how many times? Like you really got it. And that's why I laugh. Like, oh, you're trying to stop me. This file, this CD, this USB isn't this book. This 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 is the book. This and this is the book. That's so deep, man. Thinking about a picture I posted, but that's deep. But it's true because if those was the book, then the book is gone. Well, I was like, oh, okay. And that's why sometimes, like, if something disappeared, I was like, okay, let me try and tap into the spirit and bring it back to my remembrance. Because you should have already had it in here. You should already had it downloaded in here. And so, as many times as they might or something might destroy what hardware, you still have it in here. So it was. That's what I'm saying. That so, but when I noticed is that I was like, well, if something happens, then if I got to write it, let it go to another degree. Let every time it go to another degree. So challenges, sometimes that's what it is. It's taking you to another degree, to another degree, to another degree. So it's like, okay, you run now. You're running like, okay, boom, boom. Every time it's going higher. Because I remember somebody was like, "Is if you're having to write the book again, is it going down?" And it's funny because it's like I got a USB because something happened. So I got a USB, put it through my chain, went into the store. Somehow you bought it to be on a chain. Somehow it gets snatched off the chain. I could tell you the stories would sound crazy. Like you finished it, you're celebrating. You go out the house to make a quick run. You get out the car for a couple seconds, or you come back and it's damaged or something like that. Because I remember one time I don't even know if I should tell you this. Because that's why I said when people find out what the challenges of life can be, you be like, man. That's why I said maybe I should just make it seem like everything is cake. I'll just stop there. I don't want to tell nobody no more stuff. Maybe in a private session, I can tell somebody, I'm like, man, this is what happened in like less than 15 minutes. Like what? But let me just stop there. Okay, so anyways, you want to be strong and okay, so you're creating space. And here's the thing. So you're creating space. Why are you creating space? Because we're now I know they sent them out to go investigate and spell out the land. If God already said you give him the land, He's giving you the land. You're not supposed to be going out there spying it for that. You're taking it to take over. You're not supposed to go out there re-questioning. So that staggered things. But you do need space to investigate how you're gonna take and to space to venture. That's what I said. Space to venture. Because they talk about moving from your gift to business. So you need space to venture. So let me welcome you to one of the ventures. This is it right here. Wingmans. You ain't gotta be by yourself. You ain't gotta do stuff solo. You ain't gotta be Maverick solo. Maverick had Goose. That's another thing. Like everybody had. They flew in twos. So Wingman's home of the Spitfire. This chicken is the bomb. And so you can visit them on www.wingmans.com. And I'm just showing it to you guys so you can see what the wave of the future is. You're like, oh man, I seen it there. He showed it to us, and like, man, it's taking off, man. I'm just saying, Wingmans, Wingmans. All right, so that's why you want space. You want space so that you can be able to venture, and then what you do is as you venture, then you fill that space. You fill that space with wealth. In life, you never knock 9 to 5s because 9 to 5s train you. Just like uh, you can be raised under the tutelage in a household to your mental or what your capacity exceeds that. So now it's like the giant fish in the fish bowl. Like you can already tell, like you're in a situation where you're bigger than the bowl, like than like the way the minds are. So it's causing if you put a big fish in a little pond, it causes friction amongst the because it's a huge fish in a little pond. So what you have to do is put that mug out to sea. Take that big fish and put it out to a bigger pond so that it has space to move around, space to create. You want what you're just looking for is space. So whatever you did or how you developed yourself, you grew too fast or grew big. Sometimes you be like, man, I was only this height. Why is my kid that big? Or whatever. Why is this person that big? You know, and that's just the way it goes. He's supposed to play basketball. He's shoot. That's God's. Ultimately, these are good. And that's why I say I always respect young people. And I used to notice in church, like people kind of ignore them. I'm like, hey, sometimes to be honest, just because of like how they are, and they don't got guile to them, I'll be like, hey, what's up? How you doing? And I always treat like trying to show people respect. So I'm like, man, you showing me, who come into church and say hi to me. and I say hi to them and then just sit down. Like, they might be like, man, he ain't saying hi to no adults. He just said hi to me. I'm like, you is an adult. You're just a little person. You know what I'm saying? So you say hi to people, show them love, and chill, man. Because they're from God. That's why they said the angels are the little ones hover before the Lord's face. They're from God. They're God's kids. They're doing God's assignment. In fact, the whole thing about marriage was so that there would be godly seed in the earth. Purpose. Get the wisdom of soulmates. That book is going to go from digital form into physical form. Right now, you can get it on jgmnow.com, JoshuaGatesMinistries.com. Uh, it might be advertised on different things, Amazon, or I don't know if we did the Barnes and Nobles. Mm-hmm. Maybe for the future. There's a lot of things where you gotta, when you include other people, it's like they wanna, uh, and then in this game, it's you gotta be. There's nothing wrong with maintaining ownership, and then going in a partnership, but just giving away all your rights and everything, that's not always the move. And then Like I said, man, if you even knew what happened with some people are aware, like, man, it's just you know, if somebody else is operating your faucet, because when it talks in the scripture about owning your own fountain, if somebody else is operating your faucet or your fountain, they could like close the valve. I'm like, hold on, man, it's supposed to keep flowing, keep flowing. I'm like, I'm like, hello, hello. Bob is on the phone. I'm like, hey, I need to get that moving again. Bob is on the phone. Is this a real person? Bob is on. I'm like, hold on, man. What? So you gotta maintain some kind of ownership. So you gotta have some kind of knowledge. You gotta be able to be some kind of a builder. All right, y'all. Be blessed, man. This is gonna go. I guess this is the wealth series. That's the vein, obviously. I see where the message is, and this is the vein. One of the things that I already knew. There's gonna be a book that's telling people how to be wealthy, and it's coming. And because there's a lot of people that, and I've talked to some people, that I knew amassed wealth. And it's like, yo, so how you make your first million? And then boom, 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 boom. And some people's like, man, they ain't make their first million that way. But and me, like I said, I give people the benefit of the doubt. I don't think the person had no, I understand. People always feel like there was some backhanded, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. That's not mine. That's not my concern. My concern was that I asked and the person said something. So that, I ain't got nothing to do with all of that other stuff. But I do know from observation, when I be listening, I notice a lot of people interview these people. And I heard Papa Hale say this, and it's true. They be interviewing these rappers and stuff like that information. And like, and I'll be listening, okay, because they feel like, okay, this person got wealth in their authority. And some of them be saying some good things, and some of them, be saying some fine things, and some still have some things that they're working on. But what I was thinking today is when I was listening to them, I was thinking about what someone else said. Actually, I wasn't thinking about that. I was just honestly just listening to them. I wasn't even thinking about that statement. But when I was listening to them, I was thinking like, sometimes they ask these guys, okay, how do you make wealth? And I said, not the guy that I was looking at, but I was just thinking like, how many people tell people some stuff that's good and want to hear, but they ain't really told them like, nah, I really didn't make it like that. They tell you some stuff, but it's not. They really didn't make it like that. You know what I'm saying? Like they did something. It might have been scrupulous, to be honest with you. That's why I look at it like uh, it's a blessing when someone is actually, because truth be told, knowledge and stuff. There's a reason why you're supposed to buy wisdom and sell it not. It's a premium on that. It's a premium. It's a premium on that. It's valuable. You know. So it's a blessing if you can find somebody that's actually kicking it to you and it's real stuff, and you can see that it's applying, moving in their life, and you don't know what that person might be facing. You might take it and it might move quicker because you didn't have as much the things that you had to deal with, you know. So that's what like the thing is it true, and if you can find that, it's phenomenal because I think in the book of Judges they found somebody. And this is something, if you look on here, you see earlier I preached about it, but they said, "Come be a father to us," because they knew a priest, is a father. And he said, "Well, I already got that." He said, "Man," and the guys, it was like a whole tribe. They said, "Man, I don't care, man. You being a father in that house." Leave that house. We'll pay you and set you up. You'll be a father to this whole tribe, to this nation. Because so they was looking like, man, we understand what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's saying you ain't doing it there. We're just saying we give you more money because we want you here. We want that blessing. We know what you're doing. We want that blessing here. So uh, that's why we gotta I was when I was teaching that message, I was showing how when it says we don't have many fathers, uh, to understand. that there are people that are fathers that are not necessarily physical fathers or even necessarily spiritual. They're spiritual fathers, physical fathers. There's mentors, and then so, and so there's those three. There's those three. Those cover them. There can be different shades, but those pretty much cover them. You have a spiritual father, you have spiritual mentors, and uh, natural fathers, and God the Father. And you have not many fathers, but they're to be heavily respected. And along with that, I always add respect mama, because it's enough of us not showing respect, which gets me in a different vein, because I think it was the I don't think it was the fall of man that made that kind of so much of a chasm. It was the fall of man that made that chasm. So with what Christ paid for was the elevation. So that's why I don't. I ain't with people talking about it's husband and wives. You know what I'm saying? It's just it's you know I just ain't with the sexist stuff. You know what I'm saying? With the all male this father. We do recognize that. What I'm saying, mother play a role too. You know what I'm saying? Mother birth you. It says these were uh, the children of wisdom. So that's what I'm saying. It might be because of, and this is what I said before, and something, and even in music, you might see the face. You might not always know behind the scenes, but once you know behind the scenes, then you're supposed to show respect. You know, because you might not know that man is that strong because of what's going on behind the scenes. You might not see, but then for me, like I said, and I've even said it before, I used to wake up in the early. I don't want to even get in there. That's why I always try to watch. Like I don't want, because you give people honor and respect, and nothing wrong with that. But it's like you might have a habit of doing that. You know what's true for you, but then it might seem. Here's what people twist stuff nowadays. When you show respect and honor to somebody, people think you're trying to shout them out to clout chase or something like that. You know what I'm saying? So I ain't in that, but I just know like people out here sew and work all day and they never know whose life they're touching. And just them standing and holding true. You're so many people are watching them. That's why we have to pay attention. There's children watching us. So I'm looking like, man, look at the first lady that we got. We we phenomenal. You know what I'm saying? You just looking like, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, man, look at Taffy. I know why Creflo do what he do. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. Like, you just be sitting there thinking, you know what I'm saying? See, that's me. I can't help but show love. So I know people want me to not, you know, be me. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't have to worry about all that stuff, man. Like I said, God bless him. Wingmans is on the way. This is something God graced me to be able to see who was doing this and be like, yeah. So we're advertising this business today. And then whoever else we get to advertise tomorrow. That's what it's all about, man. I know some people might not be used to that, but we gotta change the format. And that's what I said, like support other people music, support other people business, support other people. It might seem weird because people are on some stuff like, what do you mean? Like support yourself. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, cool. But, you know, maybe we can lift others as we climb. Like we gotta be a light out here because it's getting weird. And when people get started saying you showing love, stop. It's them like it's going someplace else. All right, y'all. Be blessed.